All right. Welcome to Litscapes, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me once again. So, here we are for another, in parenthesis, short episode. And this one is actually going to be based on an experience I had recently at a class. And some memories that brought back, and some interesting thoughts that came to my mind, and a book that I started reading because of that experience. And yeah, so let's get to it, right? Let's get lit on Litscapes. Yeah, right. So I was recently giving a class on academic writing. How to write essays, essentially. A short, very, basic introductory course on essay writing, right? And I was doing this I actually did it in the high school where I teach, and at a college. And it went well, right? But part of the preparation was precisely reading this essay that I read many years ago. But before we get into that, let me share with you first an essay that I've actually used in class to introduce precisely the topic of academic writing, essay structure, form of vocabulary, all that jazz that's super boring, students hate, but it's super necessary. Right, especially at the college level, and it can be particularly hard, right, for non-native speakers. A lot of this is English as a second language, but it's nonetheless interesting. And I try to make it a little bit more fun by bringing in these, I would say references from pop culture and these memes. Well, let me get to that precisely. Okay, so one of the ways that I introduce the topic, right, is with this mock essay that appeared online. I think it appeared on Twitter some years ago, a couple years ago, yeah. And it's just like it came out as this attempt to trick people, right, into thinking it was real. It's not a real thing. It's not a real essay, but it's presented precisely as a college level essay from a philosophy 101 course. And it's just, a joke. It's basically this comedian, Phil Jameson, trolling his followers and mocking the essay and philosophy courses and academic writing and all that. But I use it as a sort of counterexample, right? A kind of what you're not supposed to do when writing essays. And it's just really fun. And the students, I have found, really appreciate it. They get a laugh out of it. And this is how I lead into the topic. So just, I'm going to read for you what came out online. And again, this is just a meme. This is a meme that you guys can, you can Google it at any point. It's called, the essay, the supposed essay is called Mario the Idea versus Mario the Man. Yahoo! Everyone knows Mario is cool as fuck. But who knows what he's thinking? Who knows why he crushes turtles? And why do we think about him as fondly as we think of the mythical, non-existent Dr. Pepper? Perchance. I believe it was Kant who said, experience without theory is blind, but theory without experience is mere intellectual play. Mario exhibits experience by crushing turds all day, but he exhibits theory by stating, let's go. Keep it up, baby. When Mario leaves his place of safety to stomp on a turdy, he knows that he may die. And yet, for a man who can purchase lives with money, a life becomes a mere store of value. A tax that can be paid for, much as a rich man feels any law with a fine is a price. We think of Mario as a hero, but he is simply a 1%er of a more privileged variety, the life kind. Perchance. Yeah, right. So again, it's the counter example. It's supposed to be a joke, right? You're supposed to read this and kind of like laugh at it, but at the same time, feel this cringe at why is this guy, philosophy student, college student, why is he writing this way? Why is he saying these things? Mario crushing turds. Yeah, and the essay, right, is supposed to be marked, like the teacher has all these comments. There's this huge F right on the top. Clearly the student failed the assignment, and again, it's a funny example of what you're not supposed to do with an essay. Anyhow, so we're talking about essays today, and I was giving this class. I introduced it, and in the preparation, I was reminded of this essay that I read back in high school, quite a few years ago. Yes, right, and it just stuck with me. Like I read this my junior year, and it just stuck with me. It was this unbelievable, funny, but very reflective, well thought out piece of writing. We read this essay in high school with Mr. Gilbert. Yeah, and like I said, it stuck with me. Like I carried around with me like a couple of sentences from this essay. And after high school, I just kind of, typical high school student, you study for things, you read things, and then class is over, you pass the exam, you pass the course, you graduate, and you forget about everything, right? Well, of course, I forgot about this essay, but these, couple of sentences just stuck with me. And throughout the years, every now and then, I would remember these sentences, and I would Google them, trying to find this essay. I did not remember the title. I did not remember the author. I just remembered having read it in class one day and these couple of sentences from it, right? And I would Google these sentences, but clearly they weren't exactly, right? I didn't remember them verbatim. And I never got them. I never found it. Well, I mean, for years I didn't find it. Until a few years ago, a couple years ago, I want to say 3 years ago, during the pandemic. Was this during the pandemic? Maybe, yeah. I Googled the sentences again, and I actually found the essay, and it's called In Praise of the Essay. I got my printout right here. This is from JSTOR, your go-to site for all academic-related articles and essays and stuff. Highly recommend the website, jstor.com. And it's called In Praise of the Essay. It's by O.B. Hardison Jr. And and it's just this beautifully written essay on the essay. Let me just read for you real quick the line that I remembered so vividly, so nostalgically. Like just the line specifically. It's the following. Aufsätze have an altogether lighter touch. A touch, one imagines, like that of Goethe, tapping out the rhythms of the hexameter on the back of his Roman mistress. Wow, right? I mean, what a line. Now, let me go back a little bit further and give you guys some context. So this guy, O.B. Hardison, is giving us a little bit of background on what the essay is, how it's evolved, what it means, right? And he gives us a couple of, he mentions that in German, there are two words for us. Let me read for you just the whole paragraph. The word essay comes from the Old French essai, defined by Partridge as a trial, an attempt. From this meaning comes the English to essay, in the sense of to make a trial or an attempt. As in Emerson's statement, I also will essay to be. The word also comes into English via the Norman French asser, to assay, meaning to try or test, as in testing the quality of a mineral ore. German has two words for essay. Abhandlung, I can only pray I'm pronouncing that correctly, a dealing with something, and Aufsatz, a setting forth. Herder's essay on the origin of speech is an Abhandlung. Martin Heidegger's essay on thingliness, the thing, is an Aufsatz. Abhandlungen tend to be ponderous and, you might say, Germanic. Aufsätze have an altogether lighter touch, a touch, one imagines, like that of Goethe typing out the rhythms of the hexameter on the back of his Roman mistress. And so, I would Google this sentence. I would Google, I also remembered very clearly, like there is this comparison of the essay to the memo as the types of writing, the types of papers most common nowadays. And I would Google them, and I didn't get anything for a couple decades until a couple years ago I finally found it, right? So I'm preparing this essay, and I'm just thinking back to this essay by O.B. Hardison Jr. and thinking back to high school, right? It's funny the way you read things. You read things that you don't ask to read. They're just imposed on you like the Abhandlung, ponderous, Germanic. They're just kind of like, imposed and assigned, but you're obligated to read them, and you never imagine that you're going to end up remembering something, that something's actually going to stick with you. Anyhow, that's what happened to me back in high school. And I didn't read the whole essay back then. I remember, I think we just read like the first couple of pages, but now that I have it, I've read it a few times, and it's just, a good written essay is really, really fun to read. And this essay, on the essay, obviously, like I said, it gets into a little bit of the history, where it comes from, how it came into English, why we teach it so much today, why everything has to be essays. There's actually a reason for that. It's just a very clear, structured piece of writing. But anyhow, the point is that it was actually invented by this French dude back at the end of the 16th century. Right, it was the end of the 16th century. Michel de Montaigne. Michel de Montaigne is this French philosopher who writes this book called Essays. And an essay for him back then, it was just precisely this, a setting forth. Like, I'm just gonna share with you what I'm thinking. This podcast, these in parentheses short episodes, are in a way sort of mini, very loose, you could say, casual, informal essays, right? I'm just setting forth, I'm sharing something with you, my thoughts, right? And this is what this guy did. He shared what he thought. Michel de Montaigne, he wrote this book called Essays on anything and everything. He would write about his thoughts on education, his thoughts on the raising of children. He would write on, how to go about knowing stuff and studying and researching stuff, and past lives and works of literature. Not very academic, right? It was a lot more casual, but that was the beginning of the essay, right? It was just because before that, literature was, poetry and religious treatise, and no one would really put forth just their own casual reflections on all sorts of different topics. And the point is, I'm preparing my class on essays, on academic writing, and I'm thinking back to this essay, And I go back to it and I reread it and I think, that Michel de Montaigne, the guy, right? He was onto something. He revolutionized literature, right? It's not the same today as it was a few centuries ago. Thanks to this one guy who just thought, I'm gonna write down my thoughts. It's not a diary, it's not a journal, it's just, trying to make sense of something. It's actually the introduction here to the essay. It's pretty good. Let me just read this. It says, it's called In Praise of the Essay, and it begins with, philosophy begins in response to the Delphic injunction, know thyself. The essay begins more modestly, with Montaigne's question, what do I know? And that's just it, right? What the freaking hell do I know? Probably not much. In my case, at least, probably not much. Here I am just sharing my experiences, a little bit of what I think I might know with you, but precisely the essay is to show you what I know, if I know anything, and how did I come to this. So I'm thinking about this guy, right, and preparing my presentation and exercise on essays, and I remember that there is this book I wanted to read some time ago, and I finally got around to starting it. It's the biography on Michel de Montaigne. This is the book. It's called How to Live, or A Life of Montaigne, in 1 question and 20 attempts at an answer, by Sarah Bakewell. Now, I'm not much given to biographies. I have to admit, I don't read many biographies. I've read a few. I've enjoyed them, right? But definitely, I've always preferred fiction because I mean, both biography and memoir, to me, it's like, why would I want to read something about what somebody has already experienced? I would just rather read something that is, like completely made up and creative and original. But biographies are fun. They can be fun, right? But the biographies that I have really enjoyed are not biographies as such. They are these sorts of biographies. I read things like the biography on E equals mc squared, right? The famous Einstein's equation of relativity. The biography of it, how he came to that equation, how Einstein developed it, the cosmological constant. It's kind of like a behind the scenes making of something. So I do like these biographies or histories of things. The biography of the number 0, the biography of the novel, the biography of reading. I mean, they're more histories, but they're presented as these biographies, like the life of this thing throughout the centuries. Those are fun. Those I really enjoyed. But the biographies I've read have mainly about like real biographies, right? Like the lives of people, have mainly been in the traditional, presentation, presented in a chronological order, one event after another, from birth to death. Like, I mean, of course, right? If the life of someone is their story, and a story has a beginning and an ending, you would expect that someone's life is going to be presented in such a way that it begins with their birth and ends with their death, right? It just makes sense. And again, some biographies can be beautifully written, narrative, almost like, it's an actual story of someone, but it's just that, from beginning to ending. Some other biographies are written in a more unconventional, exciting way, such as this one, precisely. The Life of Montaigne, How to Live, or A Life of Montaigne in 1 question and 20 attempts at an answer. And this is what's cool. I'm just going to share with you the table of contents, because Montaigne's life, is presented throughout these attempts at the answer of how to live. how best to live. That's kind of what Montaigne was trying to get at, right? What could make like the best life? How to lead the best possible life, a good life, right? Memorable in every way. Let's just go through these questions. There are 20 questions, 20 chapters, right? And so his life is presented through these possible answers, and it's just a very creative, very original, very, again, fun and unconventional way of narrating the life of Montaigne. Number 1, how to live. Answer, don't worry about death. Okay. And it's not just, right, the life of Montaigne, but it's these reflections that might behoove you to ponder and really consider and try to integrate somehow into your own lives. Number 2, pay attention. Yeah, I just finished watching the 3rd season of The Bear. Probably my favorite series so far. I absolutely love the whole show, The Bear, all 3 seasons. That's one of the main themes, right? Pay attention. Pay attention. This might just be important, or at the very least, intriguing. Number 3, how to live. Be born. Yeah, well, that's kind of like a no-brainer, right? Be born. Okay, yeah, makes sense. It tracks. Number 4, how to live. Read a lot. Forget most of what you read and be slow-witted. Interesting. I guess I could safely say I forgot most of what I read. For example, this essay, I just remembered a couple of sentences. Number 5, how to live. Survive, love, and loss. Oh man, that's important. Sad. Yeah, depressing even, but if you can survive love and loss, you will have arrived at something akin to an actual life. Number 6, use little tricks. Okay, yeah, I guess nowadays we would call them like hacks, right? Life hacks. But okay, yeah, makes sense. Number 7, question everything. Yes, very Cartesian, right? Doubt everything. Put everything into a state of doubt and uncertainty, and just question it and see what you can arrive at. Number 8, keep a private room behind the shop. Oh, that sounds very specific, right? I wonder who could relate to that. Who can have a private room behind the shop? Who can have not everyone has a shop. I guess this applies more to his era. But there it is, keep a private room behind the shop. I guess that, the important thing here is keep this division between your work life, your personal life. Have something private for yourself. Have this private room where you can go into and you're just separate from the world, and you can be alone with yourselves and your thoughts, and no one's going to interrupt you and kind of leave the world behind for a bit. Number 9, how to live. Be convivial. Live with others. All right, I like it. So at the same time that you have this private space, it's also going to be important to, socialize and connect with others and surround yourselves with good people. Number 10, wake from the sleep of habit. All right, yes. Don't be afraid to break those routines. Don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone from time to time and break habits, right? Yeah. So as you can see, this isn't just a biography of Michel de Montaigne. It's also like a guide, right? A list of pointers or tips. Number 11, live temperately, right? Okay, no excesses, right? No overindulgences. Number 12, guard your humanity. That sounds like it's gonna be a good chapter. I like that. Guard your humanity. Oh man, I'd love to do like a single in parentheses special on just that one chapter. But let's see, moving on. Number 13, do something no one has done before, right? Dare better, dare bolder, right? Go beyond what's been done before. Push boundaries. Yes. Number 14. How to live, see the world. Right. Travel, read, be open to experience. Good. Number 15. Do a good job, but not too good a job. Interesting. Not too good a job. That sounds like it's going to be another interesting chapter. Why would Montaigne suggest that you would not do too good a job? All right, well, I'll get back to you on that one. Number 16, philosophize only by accident. Yes, also, right, very particular. Don't kind of suggests to me, don't take philosophy or these questions and these possible answers too seriously. Don't waste your time pondering about them. Just kind of let them come to you, let them flow. If something pops up in your mind, then it's maybe worthwhile thinking about it. Number 17, reflect on everything, regret nothing. Yes, very sound piece of advice. Right? Kind of could apply to everyone, everywhere. Number 18, give up control. Again, let things flow. Let things come to you. Be free. Number 19, be ordinary and imperfect. Sounds very counterintuitive, right? You would think that life should be this attempt at living extraordinarily, right? The search for ultimate perfection. Going back to the show of The Bear with Carmi Bersato, the chef, right? Perfect means perfect. Yes, but at the same time, it's something that should just come organically through letting go of control, letting things flow, fall by their own weight, and maybe perfection would come. I don't know. I'd have to finish the book and read that one chapter, right? So, and finally, number 20, how to live. Let life be its own answer. Yeah, right. So there it is, right? This biography of Michel de Montaigne, father of the essay, which can be very fun to read. It can be very fun to write about. It can be very fun to do these episodes based on this kind of loose essay-ish structure. But anyhow, all right, everyone, that's gonna do it for today's In Parentheses. Keep reading. Let me know if you've enjoyed it by hitting that subscribe button, like, share, all that jazz. You guys know what to do. And I'll see you next time with some more fun out of the extraordinary, I would hope, but probably not so much, because in the end, what the hell do I know? But some more reading experiences. See you next time, all. Thanks.